At least one.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Drexel Freethought Society Weekly Podcast. If you didn't hear before, the Drexel Freethought Society is dedicated to promoting and supporting a secular community at Drexel University. We promote science, reason, and probably some other things. This portion of our show, we invite you all to call in. You can call in via our Skype at Drexel Freethought and let us hear what you have to say. We're going to start off this particular discussion talking about the actual theological... I don't really know why I said theological. We're talking about the government.
That's basically it.
There are a lot of issues in Misandry that concern how the government sees men and how the government sees laws related between men and women. Of course, there is a whole lot of things that make things suck for women, but it's not isolated then. One thing that comes to mind right away is incarceration. Strangely enough, that for identical crimes, women will be charged with a sentence that's 40% less severe.
I believe that.
That's I would be like 15%. I'd be like, all right, someone just sees a woman, just like, all right, I'm not gonna do it. That's almost half. That means if you're in there for what is it? I'm bad at time. So 40%, about half of it.
A lot. That's
a lot. And that's not the biggest deal that I've seen. One of the most annoying things is custody. And things having to do with children. Does anyone, both of your eyebrows exploded. Does anyone want to go into that?
The only thing I can say is, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't looked at too many statistics because they vary greatly, but I'm only going to speak empirically here. Women have the edge in the court system when it comes to child custody. It doesn't even matter. I mean, it's rare that sometimes the man wins. It's rare. But even if the woman is clearly in some sort of mental distress, like she is just off her rocker, a lot of times the judge will still say, well, the child's yours. My friend, who is a big case, he has, I think, 3 or 4 daughters, and 2 of them are still under the custody of her. And all she does is mess around with men. She basically just uses welfare for her own purposes. She basically doesn't take care of these 2 little girls. Like, they're always getting into some sort of mess, and she expects him to just randomly send money constantly to help her out, even though she's not doing anything to better herself or her children. And the guy, well, he's in the military. He's deployed right now, takes good care of himself, and the 2 daughters that he does have in custody of him, and the judges are just not budging. I've looked at various stories of women who they've tried everything in their power to make sure that the father is not in the child's life, which is completely ridiculous because, you hear all this rhetoric, especially from feminists in the media and everything, even Obama himself talking about how fathers are AWOL, fathers are not around, fathers need to step up to the plate. But then you do have fathers that are trying to step up to the plate. They are trying to fulfill that role as a father, and the women are trying everything in their power to not only kick them away from the kids, but at the same time say, oh, and by the way, you still owe me child support, give me money. Which is absolutely reprehensible.
Here's the thing. Man and a woman have coitus. And the man decides, I don't want to get you pregnant. I just want to have coitus.
You have to use that word.
Yes. So basically, he puts
also
on
talk
his...
a bit louder.
Basically, he puts on his protection. Which, of course, condoms do not always work. And the woman decides, I'm not going to use birth control. But she tells him, yeah, I'm on birth control. I'm on the pill. What happens after that? Let's say the condom breaks. Because sometimes that does happen.
Yep.
Condom breaks, the woman gets pregnant. Alright, the man says, I want you to have an abortion. The woman says, no, I don't want an abortion. Okay, fine. The woman doesn't get an abortion. The man says, I'm sorry I can't be in this. I have school or something like that. All I wanted to do was, have a good time, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And the woman says, okay, well, you owe me child support. That's messed up. Now, I agree that the choice is 100% up to the woman. But, as a woman, if you are going to make that choice not to have an abortion, then you have to make sure that the man that you are with wants to be a father. If he doesn't want to be a father, you shouldn't have to force him to pay child support.
It's like, I've heard this argument before. It's like, oh, a woman has, like, 50 options. They could take, like, a plethora of different types of birth control. Like, there's piles of different types of birth control for women.
Even after that, she can...
let me finish.
Yeah.
Then afterwards, say she does end up being pregnant, she can have a first-term abortion, a second-term abortion, in a few states, a third-term abortion. But then, even if the child is born, put the kid up for adoption. And also the very first one that I forgot to mention, not have sex to begin with. A man has two options. Not have sex to begin with, or put on a lot of protection. Which just means a whole lot of condoms. Or, what is it? Not a C-section. Vasectomy.
Vasectomy, yeah.
So there's only, there's only preventative things that the man is allowed to do. And has no options outside of that. That's why there's a notion that's been coming up recently that's financial abortion. Where you basically sign some papers and say, I am not responsible for this child whatsoever. But you also sign away your rights to ever be around that child whatsoever. So it's as permanent as actually getting an abortion.
Wow.
But I don't know if that's actually legal anywhere, but I honestly support it.
What's really interesting, and I can't remember where I found this at, but vasectomies have actually gone up. And I'm not talking about men who are like 50, 60 years old. I'm talking about men our age. Vasectomies have gone up over the past few years because men are just opting out on having kids. Like they want to have the sex and everything, but they read these horror stories about the condoms breaking, the man and the woman clearly talking about not having children, the woman lying, say I took birth control, and then the pregnancy happens. Next thing you know, you got this big financial humdrum going on. A lot of men are just saying, guess what? I'm just getting a vasectomy. And they actually go and do it at around 20, 30 years old. It's a shame that there are people who have to take drastic measures to avoid these things. Now, as far as the government's concerned, we talked about child rights and stuff. If you look at health care for men and women, if you were to type in, and if you're listening right now...
I would like to interrupt you slightly, as we have a caller.
Okay, cool. This is, I think this is Brandon. He's part of the Cynics Den.
Welcome.
Greetings and salutations.
Alright, if you'd like to state your name and where you are, and whatever comment you have.
Oh, sure. Well, my name is Brandon, but my internet handle is Bonanza. I've been in MRA for a few years. I think I'm good friends with one of your associates here at Drexel Freethought. I just want to say I support everything you do, and I support free speech, and just keep doing your thing.
Wow, definitely appreciate that.
Not a problem. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing well. What's on your mind on Misandry, by the way?
Misandry?
Yep.
What is there to say about Misandry? Misandry is ubiquitous, but the thing is, it's overshadowed by misogyny. You see, it was only recently that Misandry was actually, I believe, not too long ago, Misandry was actually accepted in Webster. Because I've got Word 07 on my computer, and I type Misandry, and it actually shows it as misspelled. And it's like, wait a minute. How can a word that exists...
Microsoft Word actually doesn't recognize it as a real word.
Yeah. It doesn't at all.
Wow.
Don't you find that awfully peculiar?
I do. Have you looked them up in the dictionary, too? Have you looked up
yes,
misogyny and misandry?
And
They're
Misandry
different.
Clearly states the hatred of men. That's it. Nothing added, nothing deleted, just the hatred of men. And yet misogyny, oh god, misogyny, they add a million and one things to that. The belittlement, the demeaning.
It said the mistrust of women is also considered misogyny.
Yeah.
And no one ever mistrusts men for no reason. No, we're seen as beacons of hope and wonder in the world.
Right, but from a personal standpoint, I feel like if you talk about misogyny all the time, I figured that misandry should be up there too. Because you can't really favor one thing over the other. Yeah, I think you have to treat them both equally. But I think that seems to be problematic in contemporary society. Misogyny is put over misandry. It seems to be the bigger issue.
Have you actually suffered any misandry yourself?
Have I suffered any misandry? I can't really recall. I just, I see it in the media,
How about in dating?
See how such lewd behavior is glorified. You see that on the news. You see every magazine cover has a Kardashian on the front, almost on a weekly basis, because it makes me sick.
Me too.
How about in dating?
In dating?
Yeah. Like, have you ever had a woman flat out tell you that you must pay for me because you are the man, or you have to do this, or you can't do that?
I haven't really been told I have not been told directly by a female, but I've seen videos, and they say that whenever you're taking a woman out on a date, it is customary for the male to pay for the meal. Otherwise, bleh. It's very dire consequences if the man does not pay on the first date. But I figure if you're treating your date as an equal, and if you want to be seen as an equal, then why not go Dutch? Why not pay for your own meal? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I get where chivalry comes from. Chivalry is earned, not given. That's one thing. And
I'll go so far
I do not believe women should be entitled to chivalry. So, with that being said, I figured if you for the first date, I say go Dutch, and then later on, if it turns out that you and this your partner develop something, then I think it's okay, later on to say, hey, you know what? I pay for you. Then next time, I'm a person who likes reciprocity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a person who likes reciprocity. I do this, and then okay, next time, you got me.
I agree.
I've always been in the position that whoever asks the person out pays for it.
Okay.
Like, I think that's fair. But even then, once you get more into the relationship, just kind of balance the money. I don't see how that's complicated.
Well, the thing is, money is always going to be the root of that relationship.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but
It's true.
seems like the dissolution of a relationship is going to be about money. It's like, especially, let's say I get married, and then y'all want to figure out assets. Let's say you didn't get a prenuptial agreement. Woo!
Women
That's
actually another thing that
lawyers. When you make it bank.
we were talking about before you called, the things in the government that favor or disfavor men. Another thing that I completely forgot to mention is divorces.
Yes.
Ooh.
May I?
Yes, is it?
There is a film, if you're interested in this topic of misandry. There's a movie called Kramer versus Kramer. It has Dustin Hoffman and Meryl Streep. And what it's about is they get a divorce. And she literally just walks out on him one day. Literally, she just says, I'm leaving you. She walks out. And she leaves him with the kid or whatever. And all she does for 18 months or whatever is occasionally she'll send a postcard. Literally, that is it. And then one day she just walks back in and she said, yeah, I want him back. And what's sad is that the court actually favors her. Because she is the woman. I think this movie was made to show how unfair that was, because this is the guy, when when his son was.
When you say him, you mean wants the kid back?
No, yeah, like
Okay.
he took care of this kid for 18 months. He took off of work to stay home with it. He had to adjust to be a single parent and doing all the things that traditionally the mother did. He had to learn how to cook and how to make all this. He had to be the one to go all the school functions and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly she just says, "Oh, I want him back," and it's like, "Oh, okay," just like.
Wow.
I wanted to counter that with something else that I saw when I saw this movie back in the 90s. Have you heard of Liar Liar?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey plays this lawyer who pretty much lies all the time, and his son wishes that he can't lie for a whole day. Well, the case that he's undergoing is a divorce case.
I was actually thinking of this exact case.
His accused of infidelity during the marriage, and what it's discovered is that she actually faked her age to make herself older so that she could get married at 18, but she was actually 17. So because she got married as a minor and she didn't get her parents' permission, she was automatically entitled to half of her ex-husband's assets. So she ends up getting $11 million in a divorce settlement. And then the judge asked them, were they going to file for joint custody? And Jim Carrey's character said yes. And then his client was like, no, I get an extra $10,000 a month. And Jim Carrey's character tells her, you're getting $11 million. Why are you going to siphon another $10,000 a month from this guy when you said he was a good father? And she was like, so? So there's not only the giving it to him, it just seems to be a sort of schadenfreude behind the divorce.
It's like we do have to be clear that these are movies, that they are.
Yeah, I know it's a movie, but you can, I guess, in a way, you can relate to just the bitterness and
Unfortunately, there are analogous cases.
Celebrity marriage.
I hate to say, I don't want to say they're just movies, because I really truly believe that our art is a reflection of our society and what we currently value.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, there's always some variation behind that. Some parts in the movie are exaggerated, but there's usually a basis of truth behind the actual movie. You Brandon, I know you as Brandon because we're good friends.
Yes.
We've seen plenty of stuff on various forums, horror stories, dealing with marriage settlements, divorce settlements, child custody, where the woman is clearly not fit to have the child, but the system will let them have it anyways.
And I don't understand why. Is it because women are seen that they can't support themselves? Is it seen that children have to have a mother? I don't understand exactly what the
mothers are definitely
is.
put over fathers in this nation. Absolutely.
Pretty much, I have to concur.
Even Obama will flat out. Almost every Father's Day when he has spoken, he is flat. On the Mother's Day, he'll sit there, he'll praise every mother out there, which, okay, that's fine. I see nothing wrong with giving a little praise to the mothers actually taking care of their children.
Why aren't the daddies getting any shine as well?
Yeah, exactly. But on Father's Day,
fathers out there. But see, that's overshadowed.
Brandon, Dante? What does he say on Father's Day?
Oh, there's one Father's Day where he flat out says, and he tells the truth, but he gives no praise to the fathers at all. He basically just says the fathers are AWOL and they need to be here, and any fool can have a child. He was speaking all this. He sounded a lot like a religious preacher, and it was a mostly female crowd, and they were just cheering and everything. He was getting their votes and all, and then he flat out said near the end to all the single mothers out there on Father's Day, to all the single mothers out there, do you need help? And and he kept saying it, getting the rise of the crowd and everything, but no mention about helping single fathers. No mention of showing support of them at all. No kind of congratulations to the men who's sticking around. Nothing.
That's because he has his own father issues.
I think he has daddy issues.
Yeah.
Tyler Perry.
And it takes two to tango, by the way.
What's that?
It takes two to tango.
Tell that to him.
Say it.
No, but
I personally don't know, man. I admit I voted for him in 2008, but in 2012 I voted for a different man.
I also wanted to say something to
Brandon. Bonanza.
talk about her.
Bonanza, whichever you want to call me is fine.
Well, I also wanted to say something to Bonanza.
Okay.
The thing I was gonna say was the whole thing about the man has to pay alimony if they break up or have a divorce or something. That throws a gigantic financial burden in someone's marriage, where you have to share the finances if they have issues. The children get bounced left and right between the houses. And I'd also like to say that I think that is extremely terrible for the child growing up in that, because I've actually experienced that firsthand. It should not be about money. It should be about the child. That is what should be.
I definitely agree with you. I definitely agree.
No, but there's another issue that I just never understood.
The thing is, you have these lawyers. And they're going to coax their clients into saying, well, hey, you're the victim here. Get as much as you can from your spouse or from your ex-spouse.
I don't give a crap about the parents. I give a crap about the children, because the parents were stupid enough to, mess up their own relationship. They shouldn't pull the children in there and basically make them go through all that bullshit with the whole finances and stuff like that.
No, I
It's
completely
bullshit.
agree. No,
I
the one thing that...
agree, but it's going to happen. It's inevitable in some cases. It's sad, but it's true. Children are used as pawns.
Cash cows, yep.
Agreed.
15 years.
No, but the one thing I wanted to bring up...
And then they'll tell falsehoods to the courts, give them sympathy, and paint the other parent as a bad parent.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir.
Oh, the one thing that I did want to bring up that never really made sense to me is how come in breakups or divorces or anything like that, why is it always the guy that pays alimony? Why does the woman never pay alimony?
It's rare.
In some cases, the woman does pay alimony. It's just, I think it has to deal with how much you make. If the woman makes more than the man, then it's very likely that the woman will pay alimony. And you know what?
I need to look into this, because I don't think I've ever heard of a case that ended with that.
There are even cases where there are women that are very disapproving of having to pay their spouse. But you know what? What I have to say is, well, I'm just saying you're doing what several thousands of men do when they, have a schism, a break from their spouse. They pay alimony. It's called equality. The thing is, equality is a double-edged sword. Some people like it, some people don't. Some people want to try to find loopholes around it.
I don't like the whole concept of alimony at all. Like, it doesn't really make sense to me.
Me either.
It's kind of just like, it seems like inherent that it's like, just assuming the guy is paying alimony. It's just like, so the guy was paying for all the woman's stuff anyway, so now that they're broken up, he has to continue doing that.
Because in
It's just like, what?
Because in capitalism, not only is food, not only is health, not only is video games money-wise, which video games make sense, but relationships are money. Everything is money. Let's just throw around all these dollar bills and stuff
Money
like
does
that.
not make a relationship.
It shouldn't, but it does, unfortunately, for a lot of people.
No, I just go right out. The money doesn't make relationships. All it does is make stupid people get close to each other.
That's what we do in capitalism. We put a dollar sign on everything.
We can rant about capitalism later. Right now we're talking about manly troubles. Let's talk about prostate cancer.
Actually, before...
wait, no. Before you're actually... that is actually a thing... I just said actually like 4 times. This is a thing that I completely forgot. In the scientific community, men are not actually... Like, even though men predominate a lot of scientific fields... women's, like, research specific to women grossly outweighs research on men. Breast cancer, ovarian cancer, basically all the womanly cancers are significantly more researched than any male
breast
cancer.
Cancer Awareness Month, like in October or something?
Extremely
Yes,
rare.
I know. But like penile cancer, prostate cancer, there's not much money into the research.
Another reason why is because you know what? When the businesses put up on their signs the pink ribbon, it's because they're boobs, and that people like boobs. They're more like, oh yeah, boobs.
It's like, this is a picture of my attractive prostate.
But when you put up a ribbon for like prostate cancer, people are gonna be like, what?
Oh, can I just say
Can it be
Because of the
brown?
prostate. That's weird.
Yeah, wait. Let
It's
Izzy,
like-
let Izzy say something. I want to tell.
Can
I want
just
to
say
tell
something
caller
about
something.
the breast cancer awareness thing? Like, it really ticks me off when the motto is like save the tatas or feel your boobies or anything. We don't say that about prostate cancer. Like
Feel your prostate.
Or penile cancer or whatever. We don't say like feel your dick or something. Like we don't say that.
Male
But it's like we can't I don't know. We can't treat this with maturity. Like feel your boobies. Like really?
No, they're just.
To be
That's
fair,
the only
no,
reason
there is
why
actual research that daily massaging your breasts actually helps reduce breast cancer.
But they don't do it for the purpose of
But-
breast cancer.
but
They
the
do it.
thing
To,
is-
This is
that-
legitimate research, but I'm pretty sure the scientists involved are really happy about
but
it.
I don't want to forget our caller here. Hey, Brandon. When you get a chance, and I want
really weird thoughts in my head, guys.
You're welcome.
Everyone who's listening, including you, Bonanza, I want you to do this. When you get a chance, type in your browser womenshealth.gov, girlshealth.gov, menshealth.gov, and then boyshealth.gov, and tell me what you see. There's something
Okay, so
seriously wrong.
Wait, okay, just tell me what you see, because I don't know what you see.
Okay, basically, if you type in girls.gov or womens.gov, you will see a plethora of national and federal sponsored committees specifically for the health of girls and specifically for the health of women. If you type in menshealth.gov or boyshealth.gov, you will get a 404 error. They do not exist. There are no, as I know right now, there are no federal commissions for men or boys' health at all. It is all geared towards women and girls. Why?
You know what? You're absolutely right. I'm trying.
Also, the whole thing about the breast cancer awareness, that...
It's like, I'm aware of breast cancer.
No, when you're... well, that's exactly what it is, because the breast cancer awareness thing, when you're putting into a jar for that, like when you're putting your quarters in there, that's not actually going towards research. That's going towards making more of these pink ribbons. When you already knew that there is such a thing as breast cancer, if at least 90% of our population knows what breast cancer is, we don't need to focus on trying to get people aware.
No,
because
aware?
we're
No,
already
it's not.
aware of
It's
it.
not getting aware. It's getting us more money.
Quick
Yes,
inquiry.
it's getting us more
Quick
money
inquiry.
so we can
Wait, guys.
actually...
Richard,
What'd you say?
Is most breast cancer curable?
the same way most cancer's curable. You can manage it, but it doesn't. It doesn't necessarily go away. But honestly, like, I don't mean to put this subject out there, but you can get your breasts removed. Like, that's possible.
It is.
You can't remove your prostate.
I've had an aunt that did that.
I thought you could.
No. That would be unbelievably invasive surgery.
But that's not as...
Your prostate's like inward, like 4 inches.
But even though, I mean, that's not really good either, because, like, you might say, oh yeah, well, they can get their breast removed.
No, I don't recommend it
But that's
necessarily, but I mean,
it's
like...
terrible for the woman, because not only does she go through the pain of having that done, but she gets ridiculed for not having a breast or anything.
If I was
you
just
can
like...
have breast reconstruction surgery.
True. And at the same time, if a woman's just like, oh, I have my breasts removed, I'm just like, okie dokie.
But most men would be like, oh, you have no boobs? Well,
Yeah, those are the men you shouldn't associate with.
well, yeah, I'm not one of those people, and I don't associate with those people. I'm just saying that...
Brandon, keep talking.
Anything else on your mind, Mr. Bonanza, that you'd like to bring up that we didn't cover?
No. Please continue. Please
Okay.
continue. I'm
Okay.
just a listener.
You're our
I'm just
only
a
caller
listener
today,
right now.
so I mean, anything you want to say, just jump on.
I mean, we have guys in chat and stuff. They just can't call at this moment. And believe it or not, it's mostly people from the Cynics Den that are calling and chatting right now.
Spread us around, guys.
This is pretty awesome. I'm trying to think if there was another thing. Oh yeah, how can we forget the supposed wage gap?
Oh,
Oh, we're
yeah.
not talking about this again.
Oh man!
All right, very briefly, do the
Briefly.
wage tab.
Is he being attacked?
No, he's weeping.
From the research I've been looking at, especially from what's the guy was his name Warren Farrell, I think his name was, who made that book Why Men Earn More. The notion is that a reason why there is a wage gap is because there's these evil, hideous, disgusting men who are going around telling all these women, you can't work here because you're a woman, you're insufficient, so therefore you can only be secretaries and nurses and teachers and stuff. Which I'm not going to say that doesn't exist, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that is not the primary reason why women earn less. It is because of the jobs that we choose. There are certain jobs that, now it could be indoctrination or it could be just preferences. Like women may just prefer
take on a lot of high risk jobs, like construction.
Well, I mean, I think I know where this is going, and I think I would strongly say that it is indoctrination, especially toy production.
Yeah,
And pressures that parents put on children. Like, I don't agree with everything that Sarkeesian says on feminist frequency. Some of her things are really informative, but other things she just goes way too into the patriarchy. Anyway, one of the things that she goes into is Legos. Legos, when they were first created, were marketed toward children and families. Like, they were the most, like, wonderful family toy you can all get together and build. And then, for some reason, like 30 or so years ago, they're just like, nope, now they're only for boys.
I agree with the
And-
freakishly tall person that was just talking.
Thank you, Richard.
freakishly.
No, but the idea is, Legos have been demonstrated to dramatically increase people's, like, children's thinking power and spatial development. And the desire, basically, to go, like, I'm not saying Legos will make you be a scientist, but they're definitely going to help. And all the Lego sets that are marketed towards girls are the most whitewashed, domesticated Lego sets you've ever imagined. Even in the commercials, they don't show girls actually building with Legos.
It's like they're already made.
They're already made for them, and all they do is play with them. And all they do is use them to serve coffee or go to the spa. And all the boys' ones are just like, you can build the, I'm just gonna try to do the voice. You can build the castle. You can build the spaceship. And it's like, all these things are so enthralling and engaging, but not to girls.
And the same thing, with the video games, and I know I brought up Tomb Raider, which is absolutely correct, but most of the time it is a man being
And
the one saving the princess in the castle.
Just make sure we bring it back to the jobs
like
now.
that.
No, I'm just saying that, I wouldn't necessarily say that that's, I think it's indoctrination.
Yeah,
And I'm going to say it both ways. There's a lot of boys that they want to be chefs. They want, or even stay-at-home dads. There are boys in the world that want to just be a family man.
And
But we're not allowed to do that.
My dad.
And there are
was a
boys who want to
stay-at-home
play with
dad.
dolls too.
Well, they do. We just call them
I
action
wanted
figures.
to inquire about the wage gap again, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure.
I mean, like Barbies.
Go ahead,
I
Brett.
wanted to ask your guys' opinion on this. Do you believe that discussing it with other people is like a losing battle?
A lot of times it is kind of yelling at a brick wall.
What is that in your
Because I think the last time I actually discussed like the wage gap, like seriously, I was in I was in my English class. This was like 5 years ago, and we brought up the discussion of feminism, and not many people were vocal about it. So I just kind of chimed in. I said, well, feminism, it started off with good intentions, and now it seems like feminism is trying to change itself for the worse. That's kind of what that's pretty much what I said in a nutshell. And then somebody said something about the wage gap. They said women making 70 cents to a man's dollar. And I was trying to say, okay, hold on. I think you're mistaken. And then when I tried to explain myself, then all the women were like, oh, where'd you hear that from? Where did you hear that from? So I was like, okay.
No, it's like...
So once everybody got all worked out, we had to go to something else.
There is a thing in feminist culture that is you have to play the victim. That you are the victim and the product of the patriarchy.
But why?
Because it
yes!
them.
My answer to you is yes.
I'm sincerely asking.
I'll be right back.
Why?
It's just how it is. It doesn't make any sense to me, and it's very counterproductive. It seems like what we really need to do is go into a much more humanist and egalitarian direction. And stop with...
I like that word. Egalitarian.
Yes. And humanism.
I don't hear that word much. I would like y'all to use that word more often. Thank you very much.
I'll do that. We should put that on one of our t-shirts.
The great amazing atheist once said that feminism is the means of making each and every single... the amazing atheist once said that feminism is the act of making both sexes equal by only focusing on female issues. I'm paraphrasing here.
And it just doesn't make sense. It's like, as far as parents go, I wanted to mention a few things that Chaz has said in the chat. It's just like... There's a huge I don't know how to say this. There's just a huge preference toward women just in the society, but at the same time, it's ignoring a lot of the issues. But then it can be flipped around easily and just saying the same thing to men. It's like, yes, we have a strange mother issue in this country, but then we have a strange father issue in this country, and it's all just nonsense. We have to focus.
What's a strange mother issue?
Pardon the background noise. My paternal unit just said hello to me.
What? Oh.
Hello.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling wonderful, thank you.
I don't know if you want that or not.
That's fine, thank you.
I can do that. Alright,
My mom says hi.
Hello, Brandon's mom.
Howdy.
Hi, Mom.
Hello.
No, but the way I was going about this was mother issues, especially when it's just like the things you were talking about before, is we're obsessed with mothers and trying to not really up mothers, but just focus on issues that women have, and focus on issues that mothers have. Oh, and he says especially in the black community.
Being a mother is the hardest job in the world. Oh, really? What about those people working in the coal mines?
And a lot of them don't have a choice.
Exactly.
No, and I did want to mention the things that Chaz was saying. There's a lot of women automatically get credit for a lot of
things they're supposed to do.
No, like women get a whole lot of credit for raising the children automatically, even if like the father played a much bigger role. It's just kind of like, oh, because the mother's at home, that means that she did everything.
Well, it is interesting. Like, I remember one time when I was in elementary school. I was in elementary school choir, and I was getting picked. You were supposed to get picked up by a parent or whatever afterwards. And my dad came to the back door to get me instead of my mom. And the teacher's and he's like, "Here, I'm here for Isabel. I'm here for Isabel." And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking for her mom. Yeah, here, send her." Or like, you know, it's like an automatic thing. Like the woman is the one who's associated with the children and like taking care of the children and stuff. Like the man, like I don't know. It's just it's considered. I remember, and my dad was actually pretty involved. And the other thing I can remember is in 4th grade, we had a field trip. And he decided to be a chaperone on this field trip. And it was really unusual because most of the people who chaperoned on field trips were mothers. And they're like, "We're so glad we got a man to come on this field trip with us. You know, now we have a guy to take the boys to the bathroom and stuff." Like, it was like, I don't know. It's just, it's really...
That's actually a funny kind of sexist thing, is why do we have separate bathrooms?
That's a good question.
Yeah,
it seems just pointless.
In
Well, I
Japan,
mean-
they have a one-sex bathroom at least.
Yeah.
Because people they fear perverts basically.
Oh yeah, perverts don't exist because we have separate bathrooms.
Yeah, which is funny, right?
Doesn't
But
that
they think that especially men are going to go around and harass the women while they're going to the bathroom.
I will say
peek
at
at their
Drexel, it
bodies.
is extremely hard to find the women's room. Like the men's room's like right in the open, and you're just like, oh yeah, there's men. And like I'm like, where is the lady? I remember this was like
Sometimes they're on different floors.
I was like searching for. I'm like, where is the ladies' room? I'm like, we just don't believe in women's bathrooms here. Like, what is this?
You see, I would just say screw this noise and go into the men's room. If I was you.
In fact, I might make that a topic on the Cynics Den. Great idea, guys.
That's so
Alright, anyway.
unfair about the transgender people. Because what if you're a transgendered male and you were originally a female and now you're a male, but you look like a female, and you go in the men's room and then some man looks, what are you doing here? That's not fair, because that's
Well,
sort
I mean, you could just
that's
use a
sort
stall. It
that-
serves the
that-
same purpose for both
No,
genders.
even though that's
Wait.
like the separate but
We're-
equal type of argument. We should
about-
understand that transgender people are the same as everybody
No,
else.
I agree with you.
We're about 2 minutes. Can we give him the last word before we?
Oh yeah, Brandon, we're running down in the last couple minutes, so if you want to give your last word, we'd love that.
Oh, well, this has been a great chat. You guys are very insightful, very civil. That's a
You should
compliment.
listen to our other
Because
shows.
Joe's not
That's-
here.
I'm sorry. Finish
it's-
finish your comment.
I think it's very difficult to come by, a program in which we can all share our opinions and be respectful to each other, because, everybody want to talk over one another, or it's like, how dare, just get crazy like Maury or Jerry Springer, and I don't like that vibe. I'm not really down with that vibe. I like this very calm, collected.
It's because your friend's not here. You know who I'm talking about.
Oh, and I strongly recommend you listen to our other shows.
That's also because nobody.
But yeah, thank you very much, Brandon, for coming by. We really
All right,
appreciate
y'all have a
it.
wonderful day.
Thanks,
All right.
man. I was talking about Deanna.
Oh, all right.
Everyone will stay calm until somebody throws a chair, and then everyone is going to rage.
Closing statements, Dave.
Yeah, I guess we have to move into closing statements. We have only a few minutes left. We started a few minutes late because the program is being
Yeah.
moved, so we have like 3 minutes left. Go around.
Can I start?
Sure, go for it.
I just want to say this session's been really enlightening to me, because I think a lot of times we only think about. This session has been really enlightening to me, because I think a lot of times people only think about their own problems, and I will say, like, women's problems are definitely in the media and in society more often, and I didn't even think sometimes that men might have the same problems, or opposite problems or something. It's not something I really thought about. So this has been really educational. So yeah.
Richard, go quickly.
I'd like to say that we have to start looking at our problems not as male problems or female problems or black or white or whatever you name it. We just need to understand that us as an entire society is derpy, and we need to fix that.
Well said.
Dante.
Misandry exists, misogyny exists, and I would hope that more people would take a more egalitarian stance towards these things, but bringing one group of people up while bringing another down is simply not the answer.
Bravo.
It's like now we have like a minute and 20 seconds, so I'm going to just talk continuously until these. Okay, now I'm going to actually give my comment. All right. Let your sons cry. Let your daughters play with guns. Let your
As long as the guns.
let your boyfriend play. Let your boyfriend play with dolls. I think I'm getting these mixed up. Let your sons play with dolls. Let your daughters play with guns. Let your boyfriend cry, and let your girlfriend wear pants. Let's.
I thought they do already.
Yeah.
They wear jeans.
You know what? Whatever. Being egalitarian is the answer. Treating everybody as individuals instead of actually searching on what's going on in their pants. And remember, men, check your balls for cancer. This is the Drexel Freethought Society.
Thank you, Bob Barker.
This is Drexel Freethought Society. We promote science, logic, and stuff. Please email your questions to us, post on our Facebook, our Twitter, get on our website. The blogs are starting to come up, and it's going to be awesome. We're all fantastic. Goodbye, everyone.
Get your pet spayed and neutered.
Thank you.